Hello and good evening, everyone. I welcome you all to the topic of the week Bulldose series. And again, we are adding up one episode, which is a special episode of today, especially on the most important event of any financial year, that is the announcement of the budget. So, hello everyone. We are going to start with the key highlights of the budget with the help of a document which is provided by the Government of India, in which all the important key takeaways are mentioned along with the sectoral allocation and the monetary allocations and whatsoever, from wherever money is coming to the government and, wherever government is allocating the money towards. So let's start first with the meaning of this financial statement that is called as the budget. Averagely, we use this term to make an estimation of the receipts and the expenditure, and we analyze the future of our expenditures according to the past expenditures that we have made. Ideally, budgeting is done in a way that we forecast that whatever expenses we are going to do in the near future, uh, keeping in mind what has happened in past. So yesterday, our finance minister, Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman, she announced and she presented the economic survey of 2022, wherein she presented the overall picture of the Indian economy in front of not only the parliament, rather the citizens as well as the world, that what government has done or what has been the economic scenario of India in 2022, and on the basis of that, how government has now proposed to allocate the funds or allocate the resources for the next financial year. Now, as per the budget statement, again, like we have seen a couple of times that budget has always been presented by our finance minister. However, the dates have been revised more or less according to the Article 112 of Indian Constitution. The budget is being presented, and overall it contains the estimates of revenues and the capital receipts, the ways and means to raise the revenue, the estimates of expenditures, and the details of the actual receipts and expenditure of the closing financial years, and the reasons for any deficit or any surplus relating pertaining to that particular year. Even this statement contains the economic and financial policy of the coming year, that is all the tax proposals, the prospects of the revenue, the spending programs, and even if there is any introduction of new scheme or new project started by the government. So this event is taken as a mega event in the Indian economy, and even I'm sure that all the citizens of India currently, they are keeping their eye on the news, and they were since morning they were waiting for some good news from the government. And yes, I would say the middle class people have got the, I would say, the news of the year with the reintroduction or revised tax regime. So I'll first start with what Mrs. Sitharaman has to say about the budget statement. So she has envisioned again the Amrit Kal. So Amrit Kal is basically the timeline of 25 years, which is just left with the completion of centenary towards the independence. So now this Amrit Kal has been started, and here in this Amrit Kal, the government is projecting to increase the opportunities for the citizens and focusing on the youth, because again, the unemployment and utilizing the resources is very important, and keeping in balance with the youth generation and the employable opportunities is very important. So besides this, it's very important to have of course, the job plus growth, not a job less growth. That is, of course, in the previous years, has we have witnessed that India had been accelerating towards a jobless growth. So the unemployment rate was quite high. And now, even during the budget, she highlighted that we will be pushing and we will be putting more focus on the growth as well as the employable opportunities for the youth. Besides this, again, we require a very strong and stable macroeconomic environment, besides keeping in loop what we call as a trickle down approach towards the growth. So here we are talking about not only one aspect of growth, that is only industries are growing or services are growing. Rather, here we're talking about the growth in almost all the industries, be it MSMEs or services, agriculture, agro-based industries, farming. So here the growth should be diversified and it should be reached to the to all the vertical and horizontal levels, right? Then next we speak of the 7 priorities which are called as the Saptarishis. So Saptarishis by our finance minister are the key 7 phases, key 7 areas which are identified, and all the key updations and proposals are revolved around these 7 key areas. So the first one we have is reaching the last mile. Again, reaching the last mile, that is putting focus on all the industries, on the allocation and on the fiscal deficit. Youth power, like I had mentioned, the job opportunities, the education is important to empower the youth even in terms of creating self-employment as well. Then talking about uplifting the financial sector, making it all loan free, introducing the new technologies in the financial sector. Then green growth. So this has been most talked about topic in the budget, that is of course introduction of green energy, and now putting all the efforts towards the green energy. Then next, unleashing the potential infrastructure and investments. So again, we will just cover up how the government has allocated majority of funds this time towards investment and infrastructure development. And last but not the least, as the cycle completes, inclusive development. So inclusive, by inclusive it means that the development should not only remain to the top tier, rather it should go down to the bottom of the pyramid as well, right? So moving on further, so let us start with first segment, that is the agriculture and cooperatives, and with the title line, as you can see, that is Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas, which is given to the inclusive development. So here the government again has given several proposals to reinstate the inclusive development Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas in a form of agriculture and cooperative sector. So building the digital public infrastructure, building an accessible, inclusive and informative solution for the farmers, setting up of agriculture accelerator fund, which is important for encouraging the innovative startups in the rural areas. So in this budget, the startups has received a very due importance, and of course India's startup ecosystem is much applauded in the past 4-5 years, and even the startups in the rural areas are also being encouraged by setting up the agriculture accelerator fund. And lastly, we have targeted funding of 20 lakh crores which is allocated in the agricultural credit, which are targeted at the animal husbandry, the dairy farming and the fisheries sector. So in all these segments, nearly 20 lakh crores has been allocated by the government only and only for improving the agricultural credit at the animal husbandry, dairy farming and the fisheries sector. So besides this, even making India a global hub for millets, as you all know that 2023 was declared as the International Year for Millets. So millets production has always been of a key importance to India after, again, the food grains, the other staple food grains. So Shri Anna, so the support is to be given to all the IMRs Hyderabad for promoting research in even subsidizing or improving the yield of the millets in India. The next, setting up of widely available storage capacity will definitely enhance the farmers' remuneration by enabling sale at the appropriate time. So India, definitely the infrastructure in agriculture is still obsolete, it is still outdated, and sometimes even farmers, they are inaccessible to the infrastructural facilities which is to be provided to the farmers. So setting up of widely available storage capacity will definitely help procuring their produce, of course, from the farmers to the market, right? So then next, if we talk about the credits to the agricultural sector, of course, we have seen a very growing trend, as you can see in the graph here, that the trend line from financial year 15 has definitely gone up, reaching financial year 2022, and on the other hand, it had a positive impact on the food grain production as well. So in the financial year 2022, India has recorded the highest food grain production, and again you can directly relate the improvement in the agricultural credit and the improvement in the food grain production. So definitely it has given a positive relation with each other, right? Then next, speaking about the health, as you know that pandemic has been a very important, it was a very tragic and a kind of a very negative event for the Indian economy, as it has decelerated our growth rate, especially it has given an alarming sign that we need to spend more on the health. So here nearly 157 new nursing colleges is to be established. So this time government has taken note on anemia. So the 6-cell anemia elimination mission is also to be launched to make India anemic free again. Then the new programs to promote research in the pharmaceuticals to be launched. So during the COVID time, we know that India's majority or the proportion of pharmaceutical in exports was the highest one. So now India is actually taking note on pharmaceuticals industry and trying to improve its research in pharmaceutical sector, right? Then joint public and private medical research to be encouraged via selected ICMR labs. So again, this is all related to the research work so that we can be more proactive in the pharma sector as well. So over the year, the increase in the expenditure on the health and education has actually gone up. So even this year, we had seen that the health sector is given 2.1% of GDP. However, the education has gone just a very meager rise, that is merely 2.9% of GDP as compared to the previous years, right? However, maybe in terms of percentage it is less, but again, like most of the developed nations are spending 5% or 6% on the health, on education. It was imperative for India to dedicate the percentage of GDP as high as 3% or 4% to the health and education sector. So somewhere it is considerably, it is still low as compared to our needs and requirements at the present stage, right? Now next, speaking of the education and skilling, so this time the budget proposed a revamped teachers training via the District Institute of Education and Training, and even a national digital library is to be set up for the children and adolescents, and states will also be encouraged to set up a physical libraries at the panchayats and the ward level, again to inculcate the habit of reading. So even at the grassroots level, at the panchayat level also, so the physical libraries will be present so that the students will have easy access to the books, right? Then next we have is the big tent that accommodates all. So it means now we speak of the inclusive development achievement so far. So far the government has again opened 47.8 crores of PM Jan Dhan account banks, 220 crore of COVID vaccinations of 102 crore persons have been again injected so far. 9.6 crore LPG connections under Ujjwal scheme given to all the needies. Then 11.7 crore household toilets have been constructed under the Swachh Bharat mission. So these are the achievements of this government in terms of the schemes which are launched for the inclusive development. 9 crore drinking water connections to the rural household. Again, this was a scheme. Even you all know that it is basically a scheme to provide the accessible and portable water to all the household connections, right? Then cash transfer of 2.2 lakh crores of over 11.4 crore farmers under Prime Minister Kisan scheme, right? Then next, insurance cover for 44.6 crore persons under the PM SBY and PM JJY schemes. So even under these schemes, the insurance covers have been provided, bank accounts have been opened, the COVID vaccination is being provided. So all these are the achievements which have definitely given boost to the inclusive development so far. Then next, if we speak of the urban employment rate at 4-year low. So this time we've got a bit of good news that over the span of 4 years, our unemployment rate had gone down, and as you can see, it is somewhere 7.2% now as compared to June 2019. And next we have again, this is the growth, that is the real GDP so far, right? So if you can see that in the financial year of 21, again during the COVID times, the real GDP was down. However, India had picked up in the post-COVID economic recovery, and this year we also project that the economic recovery will be smooth and India will grow at a fast rate, right? So the next we have is reaching the last mile. So now reaching the last mile is that here we are talking about the infrastructural development across the cities and states. So Pradhan Mantri Development Mission will be launched. This is very important regarding the development of India. Then financial assistance to be given to all the sustainable micro irrigation in the drought prone regions of Karnataka. As in the previous years, Karnataka has been again, it was hard hit by the drought, and this is now a new area which is explored, or which is now provided by the government of India, that is the financial assistance which is to be given for all the sustainable micro irrigation programs in the region, right? Then next, in the Eklavya model scheme, so more teachers are going to be recruited for nearly 740 Eklavya model residential schools. So this is the school or the boarding schools which are started for the tribal regions, for the tribal children. And so far, even it is good news for all the government teachers, even all the teachers who are applying for the government jobs in teaching line. So now we have good news that Eklavya model residential, there will be new openings this year, and in these schools there are accommodation facilities provided to the teachers. So it's just like Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalayas, but definitely these are at the tribal regions. Then next, the again, for the digitization of the ancient inscriptions, the Bharat SHRI is also going to be set up. So these are basically for the inscriptions, so for setting up the digitization of the inscriptions. Then next, if we speak of the infrastructure and investments, the incentives to boost the investment in infrastructure and productivity capacity is being focused, and this will have a multiplier impact, and it will lead to rise in growth, of course, in terms of real GDP and nominal GDP, and in enhancing the employment opportunities in India as well. Whenever we invest whenever the government invest in the infrastructure, or try to build infrastructure, it on one hand it builds the assets of the nation, again it improves the livability of the nation, and on the other hand it improves the employment conditions and employment opportunities as well, right? So increased capital investment outlay by 33.4%. So this was much applauded proposal. It was much applauded I would say allocation by the government, that capex or the investment outlay has gone up by 33% to nearly 10 lakh crores, right? So the continuation of 50-year interest-free loan to the state governments to incentivize the infrastructure investment. So now central government is going to provide free loans to the state governments for the period of 50 years, and they will be interest free, right? So this is the level of infrastructure development that government is actually thinking, that they are ready to give interest free loans to the state governments, right? Even the highest ever capital outlay is given to the railways at 2.4 lakh crores, right? The next 100 transport infrastructure projects are identified for end-to-end connectivity for ports, coal, steel, fertilizer sector, and even urban infrastructure will be created in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities via the establishment of UIDF, that is Urban Infrastructure Development Fund, which we had just discussed before. So via this UIDF, all the tier 2, tier 3 cities will be provided the the same as the urban class infrastructure, right? Then next we have is unleashing the potential, that is the trust-based governance. So unleashing the potential, as we know that here we are talking about the justice, judiciary we are talking about, not only judiciary, rather whenever we speak of our potential, so we have skills, we have again law and order, technology, so everything, our ecosystem, so everything consists of the potential, right? So make the AI in India, that is artificial intelligence in India. So 3 AI specialized centers to be set up in the educational institutions, definitely. National data governance policy will be introduced. Vivad se Vishwas, right? Vivad se Vishwas is again being, projected, which is a less stringent contract execution for all the MSMEs. So even there are a lot of documentations when we talk about starting up the business. So here there will be some less documentation and less stringent documentations will be executed for all the MSMEs, right? So AI based solutions will be proactively projected in agriculture, health and sustainable cities, right? So this is basically to give boost to the MSMEs of India so that we can increase the potential. We can actually increase the employability, our startup ecosystem, our businesses should be more sustainable. So this is basically for that, right? Then next, the Vivad se Vishwas part 2, that is easier and standardized settlement scheme. Then next, very very important, phase 3 of e-courts are to be again launched. So this will definitely improve the administration and the justice. It will definitely kind of coordinate and there will be a very good ecosystem of the judiciary with the help of the e-courts, right? Then next, the entity DigiLocker is to be set up for the use by the business enterprises and the charitable trust. So this DigiLocker is to store and store all your documents. Again, this DigiLocker, I'm sure you all know of, that you can actually store all your government related or even your secured documents here, and it is purely logged and encrypted. So definitely it will facilitate and secured online storing and even sharing of documents with the business ecosystem. So this is the positive impact of the DigiLocker that will be provided to all the people. Setting up of nearly 100 labs for 5G services. So even we know that after this August 5G spectrum sale, so 5G is again we are almost ready for the 5G now in pan India. So 5G is a new technology. R&D grant for lab grown diamonds. So even we have good news for all the diamond merchants as well. Then next, again speaking about the green growth, as I had mentioned that green credit programs and green energy has caught everyone's eye in this budget, and here PM Pranam is to be launched, which is again related to the green energy. So it will incentivize the states and UTs to promote the usage of the alternative fertilizers, right? So 500 new waste to wealth plants will also be established under the Gobardhan scheme for promoting the circular economy. And again, by circular economy, we mean that whatever you are producing, it will be absorbed and then further reused. So circular economy is something, whatever you are creating, make sure that it is being absorbed easily, and the wasteful product should not remain on this planet, right? Then next, speaking about the sustainable ecosystem development, so then Mishti is to be taken up for the mangrove plantation along the coastline. Amrit Dharohar to be implemented for the optimal usage of the wetlands. So wetlands are all the marshy areas which are in India. Again, wetlands you can find somewhere around delta regions, in the delta region, not only delta, rather these are the swampy and marshy areas where the variety of biodiversity is present, and they have a very, I would say, special species available. So even we have Ramsar Convention, which is to conserve and to protect all these wetlands, right? There are several other initiatives taken, that is setting up 10,000 bio input resource centers to facilitate farmers to adopt the natural farming, very very important. Promotion of battery and energy storage systems, and promotion of coastal shipping for every efficient energy transportation. Even you know that government is now promoting the coastal shippings for all the for energy efficiency itself, and even the transportation, the shipway transportation is being now promoted. The funds to be allocated for replacing the old polluting vehicles, right? So even we have all the scrap policies, again national scrap policy, which is to calculate the scrap of the older vehicles of the age more than 10 years, more than 15 years. So again, you can get your vehicle valued through the government scrap centers, right? The next, Amrit Pidhi Youth Power. So this is uh, you know Amrit Pidhi, that is youth power. So this Amrit Pidhi, which means that all the youth, the teenagers now, again, they are for next 25 years, they are going to be the nation builders, right? And their power, of course, it is imperative for government to increase and to use their power to channelize their energies at a righter end. So they are definitely, the PMKVY 4.0 will be launched, and this will cover new courses like coding, AI, robotics, 3D printing, and many more. Even there will be several measures taken to boost the tourism sector. At least 50 destinations to be selected through the challenge mode, to be developed as a complete package for domestic and foreign tourists. So this is government, of course, it is doing from 2-3 years now. So they are selecting 2-3 important centers, key centers, which are again, adjacent to the major cities, and they're developing those cities in a way that it promotes the tourism, right? Then the best example is Kushinagar. So Kushinagar is one of the Buddhist pilgrim, and with the, of course, with the setting up of an international airport there, it has actually increased the quite tourism, or quite a tourist layoff over there, right? So this is how they are trying to improve and to actually increase the tourist spots in India. Otherwise we would be just noticing that there are some only few listed cities that are considered to be the tourist spots. So with this, definitely there will be more tourism, more attraction of tourism towards India. So states will be encouraged to set up the unity malls for the promotion and sale of one district, one product, geographical indication, and the handicraft products. So even like we know that Modi ji is also trying to, I would say, showcase the India's handicrafts and artifacts at any, at all the important events, be it, presenting the gifts at the G20 summit, or giving some handicraft item during the Republic Day or Independence Day to the chief guest, offering them the most precious artifacts of India. So these are what? These are actually showcasing that India is full of talent, and India's culture in itself is so diverse and rich that it is everyone else in the world just know the tip of the iceberg. So there are many things which are not yet showcased because of course, lack of knowledge and IT over there. So with this, government is trying to actually encash all the cultural heritage and all the talents that our artisans have, right? Then next we have is financial sector. So what all we have for the financial sector this year: setting up of National Financial Information Registry to enable the efficient lending, promote financial inclusion, and enhance the financial stability. This time budget also says that there will be a central data processing center for faster handling of administrative work under the Companies Act. The credit guarantee scheme for MSMEs, it of course, the corpus has been expanded under this revamped scheme to enable the additional collateral free guaranteed credit of rupees 2 lakh crore given to the MSMEs industries. Then Mahila Samman Bachat Patra. So Mahila Samman Bachat Patra, it is a one-time new small savings scheme for a 2-year period with a deposit facility of up to 2 lakh for women. So this has been recently launched. Benefits for senior citizens: so enhanced maximum deposit limit for the senior citizen savings scheme from 15 lakh to 30 lakh, it has gone up, and there are yet several other initiatives launched under the financial sector, right? Then speaking of the fiscal management, so 50-year interest-free loans, and again, by according to the fiscal deficit, again, nearly 4.4%, it has government has said that India will be adhering to 4.5% of GDP by 2025, and nearly 3.5% of gross, of course, GSDP, domestic product, that is a GSDP, which is to be allowed for the states tied to the power sector reforms. Then fiscal consolidation, like I had mentioned, that target to keep it below 4.5%. However, fiscal management is again very challenging for especially Indian government, and we have seen that more or less Indian government is not quite efficient in the fiscal responsibility and the budget management. So this is Indian economy, which is backed by a strong fundamental macroeconomic fundamentals, and here we are again, with this help of this graph, you can see that Union government on the path of fiscal consolidation. So these are the primary deficit, fiscal deficit, and revenue. So revenue deficit is standing at 2.9%, PD primary deficit is standing at 2.3%, and fiscal deficit is at 5.9%, whereas the GST monthly revenue continues to remain around 1.5 lakh crore. So it's somewhere around, even in December, as you can see, it is more or less the it is tuck near to 1.5 lakh crores. On the other hand, if we speak of the capex, again, like this time it has gone really up, nearly 4 times since 2016. Since 2016 to 2023 now, it has gone 4 times up. On the other hand, if we speak of the NPAs, so it has gone definitely down. In the bankings, the NPAs, or you can say the banks have done really well in controlling the NPAs in their system. Then next, sufficient foreign exchange reserves to cover the 9 months of import. So again, however, slightly on a downside, but yes, as compared to the quarter 2nd and 3rd, the foreign exchange reserves have definitely gone down, right? While on the other hand, the wholesale prices converging to the retail prices. In the previous year, from September, October, the wholesale prices were quite up, right? As you can see that April, June, they were quite on a higher side, but now by December, it has gone down. However, if I speak about the inflation, that is consumer price index combined of rural and urban, it has remained more or less again on a higher end, which is somewhere around close, very, very close to 6%. However, the government is still trying to keep it in the loop of 6%, right? However, it has to be kept somewhere around 4%, but again, because of COVID and plenty other reasons were responsible for bit at a higher side of CPIC, right? Then next, the tax proposals, very, very important, the tax proposals, right? So I'll just quickly jump to the changes. So changes to the custom duty, it is discussed. The import of the capital goods for line battery, it is lithium battery. I'm so sorry, lithium battery manufacturing. Again, so there has been some changes, right? Import of mobile camera lenses, denatured ethyl alcohol, key inputs for producing shrimp feed. So this is basically, in these, the custom duties have been changed for a bit. And as you can see, the custom duties in all these items have gone down. So the custom duties have been reduced, right? Then next, speaking of the direct tax proposals, so direct tax, it is related to your personal tax, right? So 45% of returns on the taxpayers portal were processed within the 24 hours. The average processing period reduced from 93 to 16 days only, and the processed more than 6.5 crore returns this year. So again, it's has hats off to CBDT that income tax procedures have been quite simplified. So this is the new taxation limit. From the annual salary of 0 to 3 lakh, nil tax, 3 to 6, 5%, 6 to 9, 10, 9 to 12 lakh, 15%, 12 to 15, 20%, more than 15% is 30%. So this is the new tax limit which has been given. So the income limit for rebate of income tax increased from 5 lakh rupees to 7 lakh rupees in the new regime, which is most talked about statement of this budget. That is, the income limit for rebate has actually gone up from 5 lakh to 7 lakh rupees. So the highest surcharge rate on the income above 5 crore has also gone down from 37% to 25%. So it has given a bit relief to the richer section, as the higher surcharge rate was if it was 37%, but now it has gone down to 25%. Even the increasing tax exemption limit to 25 lakh rupees, it has been increased from 2 lakh in 2002 to 25 lakhs in 2023 on the leave encashment on retirement of non-government salaried employees. Even there are some extended benefits of the standard deduction to the new tax regime for all the salaried class and the pensioners, right? Then next, simplified tax benefits for the industry. So enhanced limits for micro enterprise and professionals to avail the benefits of presumptive taxation, 95% of the tax receipts to be non-cash, and even there are deductions on the payments made to MSMEs to be allowed only when the payment is actually being made, and there should be no accrued. So extending 15% of corporate tax benefits to new cooperatives commencing the manufacturing till 31st of March 2024. Higher limit of 2 lakh per member of deposits and loans in cash by PACs and PCRDBs. The higher limit of 3 crore for TDS on the cash withdrawal for all the cooperative societies, right? So these are some of the important benefits which are again given to the MSMEs so far. So this is, now let's just take a look at from where the money is coming this year. What are the government projected receipts? So 34% will be coming from the borrowings and other liabilities, nearly 15% from income tax, 7% from the excise duties, 15% from corporation tax, and GST and other taxes are going to cover 17% of the total receipts, customs 4%, non-debt capital receipts 2%, and non-tax receipts are gonna cover 6% of the government's revenues, right? While this rupee is going to several components. Firstly, state share of duties 18%, pensions 4%, interest payments 20%, centrally sponsored schemes 9%, subsidies 7%, defense only 8%, central sector schemes 17%, finance commission and other transfers 9%, and other expenditures 8%. So still interest payments are taking the lion's share in the expenditure of the government, right? Now this is the allocation for the specific ministries. So as you can see, in terms of lakh crores, in Ministry of Defense 5.94, road transport 2.7, railways 2.41, Ministry of Consumer Affairs, food and public distribution 2.06, home affairs 1.96. This is very, very important data, as it is actually been used in several competitive exams. Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers 1.78, rural development 1.60, 1.25 and 1.23 in the communication. So as you can see that Ministry of Defense is still acquiring a lion's share, 5.94%, right? Now, speaking of allocation to the major Indian schemes, right? So, in terms of pharmaceuticals, again, like I had mentioned, pharmaceuticals since COVID times, it is gaining a lot of importance in our budgetary allocations. Jal Jeevan Mission, again 70,000 crores nearly. And speaking of the Eklavya residential schools and Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, as you can see, 590, 5,943. Then next, Northeast Special Infrastructure Development Scheme, which is only for the seven sister states. That is, again, it has gone up from the last year, 2,491. And to the FAME scheme, that is faster adoption and manufacturing of EVs. This has also gone up from the last year. In fact, it has been doubled, more than doubled than last year. However, this year, the Manrega scheme, the allocation to the Manrega scheme has slightly gone down as compared to the previous years. Till now, Manrega is said to be one of the most successful government schemes. And this time, government has slightly deviated from the Manrega scheme towards the other, as Manrega is already running successfully, and they want other schemes to run successfully throughout, right? So these are the capital receipts and revenue receipts so far. These two figures are important. So this year, that is in budget estimates are to 26.3%, and budgetary estimates of capital receipts are 18.7%. So these are the figures which are again to be memorized. बहुत important है, छोटे-छोटे data figures, they are very important. Revenue expenditures and the effective capital expenditure standing at 35% and 13.9%, right? So that is all regarding the budget. And again, there are many key takeaways you can find out from this budget this year. And this budget was more or less, it was more related to giving actually, and it was I would say very kind budget to be presented for the fifth time this year. And again, we know that ahead of the elections in 2024, this was the most generous budget given by the BJP government. And again, you know, this is I would say it is the last full term budget for them. So definitely, you know, it is quite imperative that they had to give a very generous and bringing more smiles on the people's face type of budget. So yes, it was, and it has actually given some good news, good impact on overall happiness of the population. They were waiting for some new tax regime, and it has been finally introduced in the last full-time budget. As we know that 2024 there will be early elections, maybe interim budget will be announced probably. So definitely next time, whosoever whichever party will be in the power will be presenting the full-time budget. So this budget has of course, you know, has done it all. It has finally given that tax regime which people were waiting from last 5 to 7 years now, right? So thank you so much. Please kindly read all the data, all the figures related to the budget, as they can be asked in your exam. So even the MCQ types of questions, definitely these questions are very important. And the data, the schemes which are announced in this budget, so they are very important, and please take note of all of that, right? So thank you so much, all of you. And if you if you want to avail this document, you can simply just visit the government of India's website. So this PDF document is already there, so that you can have an access to the data. And again, it is requested always that you must always try to attain that document, which is actually published or announced by the government of India in itself, and to have a to have an authentic data in hand. And don't forget to read the economic survey, and then you can just contemplate that what economic survey has tried to project about the economy, and how the budget has been framed. So budget, again, it always starts with a halwa ceremony, which was somewhere, it was halwa ceremony was done on somewhere 26 or 27 January. So this halwa ceremony is actually done in a way that it tells us that till the time the budget is finally being announced, the officials who are related to the budget will remain in the north block only, and they will be cut off from their families as well. So this halwa ceremony marks the start of the budget announcing ceremony, and it ends till 1st of February, right? And even uh, earlier in the in the pre BJP times, this budget documents are carried in the red briefcase, but now it is carried in the red cloth, which is which marks as a pretext कि इंडिया में बहुत सारी जो रिलीजियस बुक्स हैं वो एक लाल कपड़े में ही बांध कर, एक मौली से बांध कर ही रखी जाती है. सो एज अ प्री टेक्स्ट इंडिया में भी जो बजट है वो अब लाल कपड़े में ही मौली के साथ बांध कर ही वो पार्लियामेंट में अब ले जाया जाता है. बट 2021 से क्योंकि पेपरलेस बजट अनाउंस होने लग गए, तो इस बार बहुत ही बहुत ही अच्छे तरीके से जो टैबलेट था निर्मला सीतारमन जी का, उसको रेड कपड़े में लपेट कर वो लेकर जा रहे थे. सो इट अगेन इट समवेयर इट गिव्स अस अ ब्लेंड ऑफ वेस्टर्न कल्चर एज वेल एज द इंडियन कल्चर, कि हम, और यू कैन से द टेक्नोलॉजी एंड द एंशियंट ट्रेडिशंस ऑफ इंडिया, कि हमने टेक्नोलॉजी को अपने एंशियंट ट्रेडिशन के साथ किस तरह से एक ब्लेंड किया, एक उसका सिनर्जी रखा, एंड वी प्रेजेंटेड इन दी पार्लियामेंट, राइट? सो फॉर मोर सच डिटेल्स, अगेन आप कोई किसी भी अच्छे आर्टिकल्स या न्यूज़पेपर्स में डेफिनेटली आप और भी इसकी जो इंफॉर्मेशन है वो आप ले सकते हैं. थैंक यू सो मच ऑल ऑफ यू.